I want Ghanaians to know that he just didn't overstay his visa. The visa was actually revoked. So it's not that Ofori Atta, overstayed. So in July, the American government revoked, the State Department revoked his visa, all right? And they gave him up to November 29th of 2024 to leave the United States, okay? He did not. And then that is how come that they, decided they were going to now pursue him, and arrest him. Actually, the arrest was supposed to occur on January 4th, and they did not do so. But on Tuesday, January 6th, they, apprehended him, in the Virginia area and took him into.
All right, for this is the debate with the Munufie. Ken Ofori Atta, former finance minister, you see, I'm one to say Ukurano, but you also fidie da. So soon fidie, so opposite fidie in Chia Ukura. Sana, former finance minister Ken Ofori Atta. See a sum fidie, and or then no phone, no sa na kukuro kai na papa na tom na fidie na swano. And na ye bedo masuko, dia ko bisa attorney general, deputy attorney general. Manase Zure say, hey, na kwen be na fa so a attorney general, former finance minister, ya che no. We're gonna go deep in all those kind of things because the party don't know. Ageni say on visa awu, say na visa nguye, e see atete no. E de kakara na de ne kokuru. Kai na papa ne tie ma urade ma wuo. E say waja na yere ne ma wo fi o so kwa akoto milk aba nom. Pia bontia na de te. Na kwa ne say guri te urade ma wuo mi ko. To tie mu sa na yere ne ma pia say mi ura na de o say ai. American eyes are so mu ye de me ko. Eyes are so mu ye de me ko. Eyes are so mu ye de me ko. That is something we are going to go deep. Now, and now, Attorney General, I have press conference and some papa bobo so Charlie. Ghana and some who and some organ and be how tia. You wouldn't even believe it. Say Kwabena is a Kwabena be a wound so still sign an account no. A yekatazumi so. Kwabena Adu Boahene and Semino, Attorney General Eddie Biaba. Now NPP for some money demonstration a call could do America because one say. As American for Timmy chicken Ofori Atta and then the Ghana for. Now, according to NPP for no, over serve in public and maybe any Ghana, say, would you want to cry? It's me first be time. We are going to go deep into all those kind of things. In Tebusuya, Pemere, this is a debate with the Munufie and Nameno in Antanas every day. You know, in Semumu Asuko. That is something we are going to go deep. Manase Azure at the big expose biaba. Na expose no the buy, no. Charlie, before we go there, you go be allergy, Dr. Munufie. Me say, allergy. Na meye president no. Na nkremufo asori dan no. Ebi say the seat of government and ebi so. Na hodi en potin na or allergy Dr. Munufie me so won sem bi edemaye.
Presidency, Jubilee House. Na ye iftar da wa Jubilee House. Ye tafsir da wa Jubilee House. Or what I say 2017 year every year we are Honorable Freeman Oseo Barry and Dahurman. Every year iftar, tafsir, friend Yami, and Jubilee House. Every year, big iftar every year, big tafsir, Jubilee House. First year Jimmy President Kufo. A year Jubilee House at a meals by Jimmy and yet of seal, Yanga Ifsar. Your mama by Yanga Iftar, Yanga of seal. And I could forward the doctor about nearby a Gososa, Tafsir, Iftar, your friend Yami, Jubilee House. 80 years, we now Mukambo, waiting. Now, I'm packed. Now you've been said. Say the people be bring there. Yeah, better 20%. And yes, okay. It's the kind of work. Say 20%. And you know they use mathematics more. Chance that don't say when you be president. And yes, but say it is possible. And yes, and then say do know. Yami achi penalty among penalty. So Munshe goal Goalkeeper.
Pacho, where a campaign message and I say, because me said Antias, Nema Allergy, Dr. Munubomia, Nama, and Mentias, or see, or no mayor president, Now you're monk from Pire with the seat of government. According to Allergy, Dr. Munubomia, Pacho, and Yaman America, when you have a question, you need to go and ask Allergy, Dr. Munubomia. Or see, Kufo, Rollins time, and ye ho. You're John Jakum Kufo by a yebi ho. Atamels John Mama by a yebi ho by or no name another than Kufa da Mamun Kwan, a Kofan Kremofos Mompire. It was a Fibiani, a Fibiani. Until Allergy, Dr. Munubomia, campaign message or see and Trabaman say he wants to become the first Muslim or Babe president of Ghana. But you were a religious discrimination of Papa way. You know, sometimes when you have leaders like this, in our communities, in our society, yet Obi Esha almost say they don't want to talk because Okakasa, yes, he boy, Okakasa, yes, boy. And here, Allergy, Dr. Munubomia, I must say somebody in some way, and then someone message way, I call round. Now that should be so been to Kabia, as he, hey, acquire the Okari and Tiasi. Yet Allergy, Dr. Munubomia, some Okanian way as soon as Ubia soon ATB. Emily, he's very, very dangerous person because when you listen to Allergy Dr. Munubomia, it's like our agenda before Ghana. My cancer papa will say Ghana for when you name be president or make it a big mess in our country. Make it a very big problem for the nation. No bab. What I mean say. Because you are really here or the 7 baba. Yam come much am to me a mompaye in Guso.
Machisra Yahuwa Elahenu Yahuwa Ekat. We ahata et Yahuwa Elohika Bika Luvika. Uvika Naveshika. Uvika Miyodika. Tode Yashak. Tode Yashak. Tode Yashak. In English, in the name of Jesus. Machisra Yahuwa.
Amen. But this Allergy Dr. Munubomia so one of the Ajuma or person and top man man say he wants to become the first Muslim or be president of Ghana. Well, it's up to him. Let's leave it up to him. But governance and they are not ready to dig them into. One will say NP before, I keep on advising them, say, someone where my Ken Ofori Atta and Magana. No Ghanaian will take NPP party serious. And it's like, they are not ready to listen. Because Obiabedi finance minister of Ghana, every end of Ghana is Ghana. The message out there is and our panic was yare, and we say that is the message he was giving us. Okayama afenyama can squad kwatana parliament can say Ken Ofori Atta say yare or sana yare or baba. Not to know is omoboa. Not to know is omoboa. Yam kwani go bisa Manase Zuri say na no yet see a chicken Ofori Atta. To say was where the check American and now no say Manase Zuri or American. Or the deep investigative journalism ejuma pa ba yentie Manase Zuri any secret awanya about Ken Ofori Atta.
Well, I caught him. I only have details of what he does, and that's what I've been sharing. And exact location where he was arrested, according to sources who witnessed the arrest, is in Washington, D.C., 124th Street in Washington, D.C. And there is an apartment, a luxury apartment complex building called the West Light Building. This building is in a very expensive neighborhood of Washington, D.C., and it is a 20-minute walk from the White House. This is where sources say Ken Ofori Atta and some members of his family, I have heard specifically his wife and son, have been living in this building. This is the building where Kamala Harris was living prior to her election and swearing in as the vice president of the United States. And Kamala Harris had a 2-bedroom condo in this West Light building. And when she moved in April 2025, this building was listed on the market and sold for almost $2 million. This is just a 2-bedroom apartment in this building where Ken Ofori Atta lives. And it was sold for almost $2 million, to be specific, $1.85 million. So this shows that it's an apartment in this luxurious neighborhood. And the information is that on Tuesday morning at about 11 a.m., Ken Ofori Atta was moving out of this building, and as soon as he stepped outside of this building, the agents of ICE surrounded him, got him into a car, and drove him away to this detention center, the Caroline Detention Center in Virginia, which is about 89 miles from the exact location where he was arrested. And they say that this was like a targeted operation. Sometimes ICE officials or agents raid places and arrest or conduct mass arrest. But everything I'm hearing from sources that were present when Ken was picked up shows that it was a targeted operation. They appear to have come to lay ambush, and as soon as he emerged, they surrounded him, got him into the vehicle, and then drove him away about an hour and a half drive to where he's currently being detained.
All right, and this is Uti Manasa Zura. Yes, I say any at Ken Ofori Atta. See at the Teno. Upia Bontian and didn't come out. Was a chin, it say a chaco. What was it? Over that, we won't crass it on. So, Paco watching the Brunya. I could call to any ate. I could call to him say, Brunya, do the media go and for the sound quine. The dinners are called so dodgy. And this and the Attorney General, so when the US authorities I revoke Ken Ofori Atta lances that, but Papa play hide and seek. Yes, I can't te a fear or team. Yes, it was almost $2 million. 20 minutes walk away from the White House. When I Ken Ofori Atta akote. Yes, I don't pay me na say so or cut jogging say yes, or cut milk cabernet. So go to the OPN and then puma. So pa ko kwachina o de buro. Esos of forms most akoko na ezo odia odu ere say o de kenten butu ne so. Ana say what tell kurada but wana atel kurada. So pa kurachina. Usum video na o de nama sebe ye on kurasa ye toto nam no. O toto na hwehwehwe na 2 video na no. Nti kurada de kekere kukuro ai no dam. No to nsani ye Ken Ofori Atta. Chini se echi akoko no. Chini se echi kura. Ekremofu fe ni bera. So ya say akwa kuro de asori mu. Na fere yesi asori mu na waja na yere ne ma odam. Na Ken Ofori Atta etiem awurade ye de me ko na onima de ye de ye. Ese echi na de boto wura ne ti. Nti no hu ade omoye na papa start o tentiem ya de me ko mama ya de me ko na yere ne ma e de me ka me wura na de daddy pe ai why de Ken ko. Wana na yere fa telephone of free. Lawyer Frank Davis oh na jidi wana frame ya Ken Ofori Atta yiro ena nkofu be bachi me yiro ya de bachi me kuno ya de bota sheriti ya de ne ko se ya de ne ko ye ko kune na se de ya tia mani hu se na ice na Ken Ofori Atta. The whole finance minister of our country ya chini se ya chibera no. Now when you say sometimes when you advise people they don't listen. Yera Ken Ofori Atta etna Ghana being a finance minister for 7.5 years. NPP4 members of parliament a press conference called President Nana Adu Boahene was say, Mr. President, saki Ken Ofori Atta because of say Ghana presidency the mean Now surprisingly nipa odi that particular press conference and nim say someone saki Ken Ofori Atta menti ase no yenti ade idea no.
Glad you're better. Yes, I'm better. Very well.
But you have not stated the image. Was it suspected poisoning?
Well, that's what I was told, that I had some poison.
Okay.
I was told. But I had gone through some treatment and I'm fine.
And now you're hale and hearty?
I am very fine.
Brilliant. And we thank God that you are in good shape now.
Yes, I'm fine.
But it sounded like a small project. You didn't even get him removed in the first place anyway.
Yes.
And you didn't succeed.
When you attempt to attack people's integrity, it's a dangerous, enterprise. So you have to be careful. And I've always been careful. If you talk to my PA, he tells you that I don't even eat from outside. It was just on the occasion that I...
You did once?
Once.
But the lawyer and the appeal could be say the moment mounted pressure say President Nana Adu Boahene any year Ken Ofori Atta na no. Unima de oye also no need abonting. He doesn't even know how they did it. They poisoned him and they wanted to kill him. And never na you lawyer and the appeal could be not say chama won't me lawyer na no. Also they poisoned him, they wanted to kill him. Because he was calling on I say Ken Ofori Atta say you know Ken Ofori Atta and I say they both actually say akoko no. Now what Ghana no. The moment you mention the name Ken Ofori, yeah, you be jaw kwan. You be jaw kwan say ah. And you say akoya do time say wo pese wo ka Ken Ofori Atta say mo Ghana ho you need to be very very careful. Mesra wo bompire bo bi ma Attorney General and the deputy Attorney General because they say Ken Ofori Atta ni di keke no so dangerous say obo ni di it be poison. Papa is here kete nke ku no. Me tie lawyer and appear could be interview here or say hwe ya poison na other hospital pass with the kurum ka no. They wanted to send helicopter, pick him up and then finish him. Made air. Also other ho on the onim hwe o. Ena obi frɛ na yere ebo na yira ma na se hwe ukunu babi oda no e poison na dia ma no. Na aban mu nipa bi no be frɛ sɛ the helicopter be fa na kwa Accra esra mfa ne nkɔ because fro helicopter ne pa onu acho lawyer ene kan yo nyamnam kan he is an astute lawyer ɔse ampa na yere so da hɔ na telephone call buy from and ye open am outside ye be sɛ be bobo din bia oh na ya te sɛ ukunu ɔyare ne ho mfa no ene ye the helicopter ba be fa na yere sɛ da bi mesrɛ mo helicopter mu da bicycle ɔna he ya no ngu mepe anya sanke be fa no say go mia ne kon in the helicopter not to say ya bonkuru for be pass akọ mo fa no to play mo say pe mo won ne pane ebo ni kuno e merely mention Ken Ofori Atta's name o keke etimi kuni pa wo ho e say na Ken Ofori Atta wo ye powerful sa na wo braga na be ansa kwasiza o say wo ma no na ne wo de we de nipa imagine somebody becoming a finance minister the party for ankasa hu say papa no e mo ne ho modern edi en sakina ese hey dabi ukoka wasema eyiwa fi ho na woni masema esere me do be call Attorney General any deputy Attorney General before I start let me play a video with deputy Attorney General actually say news na Ken Ofori Atta lawyers de ba say o na ne lawyer IS ne visa na IS pa na de o say dabi enya no kure Dr. Sram say enya no kure e pa choti no.
When it comes to fugitive of justice or fugitive from justice, the person who is running away from justice, the fundamental rule when it comes to two states dealing with each other is that no person, apart from citizens, no person has the right to remain in another person's country. Mm-hmm. So, an extradition, that's the process of extradition that we know as a result of extradition treaty, is not the only way that a person will be removed from one country and surrendered to another country. Right. So, we need to draw two lines here. The formal extradition process and other ways of getting a fugitive to come back home, other lawful ways of getting a fugitive to come back home. What we have been dealing with over the period has been more focused on what? Extradition.
Yes.
Right. But there are other ways of getting a fugitive to arrive in the country. We have been doing our best to ensure that anyone who has run away from accountability and justice is brought to book. Mm. I told you that we arrested someone recently who was at large, and those are the process that we have done.
So was the person out of the country?
Yeah, the person was out of the country.
The one who has just been arrested?
Yes, and now he's here.
Which country was he?
It was in the, I think, United States.
So the US authorities helped you to arrest this person?
I won't give the details.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Because like I said, extradition is not the only process.
Okay, great.
Now to
okay,
to the former finance minister. As at June 2025, that's last year, his visa got revoked. I know I've seen statements from people who said the visa expired.
I see. So as of June 2025, his visa was revoked.
Revoked. So it's not a question of expiration of visa.
No, so explain that, because there's some information about his visa expiring in February 2026. That's 14 February. I spoke to Manasseh a couple of days ago.
Take it for me.
That.
Take it for me.
Explain what you mean.
The information we have from authentic sources is that his visa was revoked in 2025, June 2025. So he's been living in America without a visa, let me put it that way, for all this while.
Since June 2025?
That is the information we have.
His visa was revoked?
Yes.
So
it is not everything I can put to you, but it is just surprising that we have information from people out there, some purporting to be former information, which is completely contrary to what the reality is.
Which is what, for instance?
Which is that visa did not expire.
True.
Visa got revoked.
That's what some of his persons who speak for him have been saying.
Precisely. So I'm saying that apart from extradition, there are other ways of making sure that persons
come into the country.
Exactly.
So this is one of them.
And the Attorney General's office is exploring every possible avenue of having anyone who has run away from the Republic to be returned to accountability. And we will succeed.
You will succeed. You're making this emphatic statement on television today that you will succeed.
We will use every possible legal means to bring anyone who is running away from justice in this country.
Including Ken Ofori Atta.
Yes.
All right. Justice Sam say every means be a Ken Ofori Atta be Ghana be an say be faso. Also every means. Also he is speaking on authority say here Ken Ofori Atta's visa was revoked and yet say the visa time now so say there be. Yes, papa ne tu kwan no kita Canada visa, UK visa, US visa. It is other US 6 months no wa shift ko be say UK no wa sia ba. E ho no wa shift ko Canada no wa sia ba. It game na papa na be say obe player no. So he was not ready to come to Ghana. And Ken Ofori Atta there say Ghana pa there Attorney General also dey be there. And they just say the caterpillar cause of papa say. Because I sachi papa you cry man where say what person say since June or July and they revoking the lines they send the visa. Now papa na say on si Ghana that the and mu adwuma Attorney General. Ken Ofori Atta say Ghana pa the ken also mada just about the caterpillar and the question na say na matwe no. And then Deputy Attorney General me say no matter what yeah the papa no e Ghana. But we are going to go deep into Attorney General and Attorney General den chire muni nyina bai. Na when him asem be yesere. NPP for say omo de omo ntia se da. Na Ghana mrebia ni Ghana che say obe serve publica. At the end of your stewardship no go for accountability. Omo say mrebia ni ho o serve na obokro no mrebia ni Ghana sa. Let's go and ask NPP for say what do you mean by that? What nam Ghana? What jet to say oba some Ghana? At the end of your stewardship, no, go for accountability. Most there be more than Montiasi. So NPP for us say Chianachi Ken Ofori Atta and Montiasi because there is no law in the country. A country will be so Maya, but I need make account. If I do you
see, he's right. This whole public perception, public prosecution, is what is informing. Potentially, and I don't speak for Mr. Ofori Atta, his decision to remain outside the jurisdiction. Because listen, a lot of talk has been made. And I hear my good friend, Prof, make the point that if you've held public office, you ought to be able to avail yourself an account. You ought to be able to avail yourself and answer questions. Samson, you and I are lawyers. What law compels an accused person to even cooperate with an investigator who is investigating him? What law? What rule requires Mr. Ofori Atta? Are you going to please allow me to speak? What law requires him to even be present for anything? The burden in all of this rests with the Attorney General to prosecute and lead evidence to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that the man has a case to answer. If at that point he elects not to defend himself, the court can proceed to convict him. But we made it look as if to say he is under some obligation to be in Ghana to assist the investigators investigating before they take him to court. I want to know from you, is Ken Ofori Atta or any accused person for that matter under any obligation in law when he's charged to appear?
What do you prefer?
Certainly not.
What do you prefer?
It would be ideal. I don't have a problem. It would be ideal if he's minded. But if he feels that there's sufficient enough documentary evidence which exculpates him and that his presence to give evidence in his defense or not is immaterial. Go ahead and prosecute the man.
Do you think that's what he's doing?
I don't know. Okay. Like I said, I'm not his lawyer. I don't speak for him. But I sit back and I observe the kind of public commentary, the kinds of things that people are saying, even people on this platform, essentially making it look as if to say, oh, well, you said in public office and you're supposed to account. Please, let's not do this to ourselves. Because it's important.
What is unfair about that? That you have said in public office, you are needed to account.
No,
make yourself available.
Needed to account.
Make yourself available.
Wait.
Why do you want it to be elevated to charges in court before you show up?
Samson, needed to account for what? For what? Show me the law that says that when you serve in public office, when you finish, you have to account. No, please, let me make my point. Without seriousness. The Attorney General and the state investigative agencies have accused him of committing a crime. True or false?
True.
I've served in public office. Nobody has accused me of committing any crime. You've accused a man. You say he should come. To do what? If you have your proof, the law is clear. Go to court, establish a prima facie case, lead your evidence. If he is minded to come and cross-examine your witnesses, let him do so. If he's not minded to do it, go ahead with your case. You see?
He's right.
This whole public perception, public prosecution is what is informing potentially, and I don't speak for Mr. Ofori Atta, his decision to remain outside the jurisdiction. Because listen, a lot of talk has been made. Now here, my good friend, Prof, make the point that if you've held public office, you ought to be able to avail yourself an account. You ought to be able to avail yourself and answer questions. Samson, you and I are lawyers. What law compels an accused person to even cooperate with an investigator who is investigating him? What law? What rule requires Mr. Ofori Atta? Are you going to please allow me to speak? What law requires him to even be present for anything? The burden in all of this rests with the Attorney General.
Anyway, the position of NPP for a Japan live on TV. Also, Ghana, maybe anywhere, actually say you need to come and answer questions on your stewardship to the nation. That is the position of NPP. It is how you Ghana and say what bomb say NPP mra power. That is their thinking. That is their mindset. Say, oh, Debbie, maybe deep minister we, maybe president we, maybe MMDC we, maybe CEO we are, maybe dear my diko untimi who, maybe no bet me just say that is their position. How NPP for me? And these are the people. Also, what was saying, the lawyer Ken Ofori Atta. But of course, they talk because what Japan Mesa, we know you are part and parcel of the Nado's administration. So they talk, they communicate, and these are the things they are telling Ken Ofori Atta. So now, we be in your way. And the Attorney General Ghanaians are saying, say until so the Papa will be back Ghana no, no nabio. Yeah, in case you are Americans, that's it. We need Ken Ofori Atta in Ghana. That is what Ghanaians are calling for. That's what Ghanaians are yearning for. So we need Ken Ofori Atta in Ghana. Attorney General, it does not matter. So because you were part when I'm a channel, when I'm revoking investor, that be say one time for number and Kurofo be catch say, wouldn't him Arabian on this side, you know, defeat you. So these are serious important things. Because oral human or oral can be it's part why Ghanaians voted massively for NDC. Oral can be. It is a net the mere fact that Ken Ofori Atta Ghana, na Japan may some better TV so can just say Mrebiani Ghana say Ken Ofori Atta should come back to Ghana and answer questions. Master, you people need to do everything possible to go after him. Let's listen to Attorney General Lankasa.
Well, okay, so you know that even from day one, I didn't make this public, but I started investigating Ofori Atta. All right. In fact, in his case, I'm doing it with, some foreign investigators that are tracking, all the offshore dealings and so on, all right? And then, of course, we are also doing our own investigations here. They are inconclusive as we speak. I mean, we have not, come to any conclusion. So
this is different from the SML?
It's different, totally different, and potentially mind-blowing, but I that I will not, give any details at this point in time. So I started working with the Americans in respect of Ofori Atta long before OSP, came up with their announcement. Yeah, I started working with them, and I want Ghanaians to know that he just didn't overstay his visa. The visa was actually revoked. So it's not that Ofori Atta, overstayed. So in July, the American government revoked, the State Department revoked his visa, all right? And they gave him up to November 29th of 2024 to leave the United States, okay? He did not. And then that is how come that they, decided they were going to now pursue him, and arrest him. Actually, the arrest was supposed to occur on January 4th, and they did not do so. But on Tuesday, January 6th, they, apprehended him, in the Virginia area and took him into.
You're saying this is not exactly about immigration?
Yes, it's not exactly about immigration.
His visa is not actually. His visa is not expired.
No,
it
was revoked. The visa was revoked. I am telling you this on authority. All right. The last meeting that I had with the American authorities was just 3 days ago.
His lawyers say here in Ghana say this is just a standard process.
No, it's not. It's not a. I mean, they want to give it that a twist, to make it look like there is nothing wrong. But of course, the extradition request that I sent was in respect of the OSP.
Yes, the SML matter.
Yes, but I have been working with the Americans diligently on him, and the visa was revoked, and that is how come that he lost his immigration status in the United States.
Explain to me, visa is revoked on account of you investigating him?
Something I wouldn't want to give any details, because we speak with in confidence with the Americans, but this is something that I can publicly confirm that a visa was revoked.
So in respect of his extradition, are your lawyers in America to assist the state as the Department of Justice? As we understand, there's supposed to be some 2 lawyers from your place, 2 lawyers from the OSP or so, to go and help the Americans who prosecute the case in American courts.
Normally, we don't send our lawyers. We don't send our lawyers. We are represented because we make the request to the American authorities. So just like here, when they make a request, my office, mostly led by, my deputy, Justice Srimsai, goes to court. My lawyers go to court, and they represent the interests of the United States of America.
That's right.
And they do all the arguments, and then when, they persuade the judge grants the extradition request, and then, we extradite the person. It is going to be the same. So you see, when I said that Mr. Ken Ofori Atta had hired top lawyers in America to argue his case for him, and that is not going to be an easy battle trying to bring him home. People thought that I was going to the United States to face his lawyers there, and I was afraid. I'm not afraid. Paul Adomochiri did a show here where he said a Stanford lawyer, and you are afraid of lawyers in America. I'm not afraid of them.
He's not the only one who was unhappy.
No, but nobody ought to be unhappy, because John Ashcroft, the former attorney, general of the United States of America, all right, called me and said he was the one representing, Ken Ofori Atta in the matter. But his concerns, that the reason he called me was for me to assure him that when Ken is returned to Ghana, all right, he will get a fair trial. And I assured him of the fact that under this government, And in accordance with Article 19 of the Constitution, his right to a fair trial is guaranteed. No one is going to, Ken Ofori Atta is not he's not the person that will come here and we're going to treat him very shabbily and so on and so forth. He will be accorded due process of law. His fair trial rights will be guaranteed and so on. So I talked with John Ashcroft, but at the time, I could not, including the lawyer, the lawyer who granted the interview.
That's right.
So there were three lawyers who spoke to me via, a Zoom on that day when they were expressing concerns. Okay. So at that point in time, it was confidential. I could not mention John Ashcroft as his lawyer. All right. But I was simply saying that when you take the fact that he has these top lawyers coming to court in America to defend him, it is not going to be a day's work to bring him home. That's because he will appear before in this current matter. He will appear before an immigration judge. All right. On January 20th, he's appearing before an immigration judge. Right. He has a right to appeal that decision to a district court. Right. From the district court, he can go to a circuit court of appeals. Yeah. Then from there to the United States, Supreme Court. That is potentially the legal pathway to the determination as to whether or not he should be taken from America. Right. If he doesn't self-deport, this is what is going to happen. In the extradition case, again, a district court will hear the proceedings and make a determination as to whether to extradite him. If he is not happy about that, he can go to a circuit court of appeal and to the United States of America. So I was just laying out, the legal pathway that lies ahead of us,
and which could drag,
and that is part of the process of probity and accountability.
But why do you get a sick man's visa revoked? And as I understand, it was revoked in June.
No, in July.
June or July?
July, I think.
Rather.
Yeah.
Okay.
July.
Well, he's sick. He's not well. That's what we are told. He needs to recuperate from treatment.
Do you recuperate only in America? You can recuperate here. There are people here with prostate cancer who are treating themselves.
As a party in the phone will be a head whoopee on your console to her. Wo buy ya wubu a memu.
Yeah, we're going to go deep into a Katachidi and so I'll say the name. President I do agree with you because we shouldn't sit down for somebody steal the resources of our dear nation and then run away and enjoy that particular amount or that money. You say Ken Ofori Atta akwa rented Danya, so Akoto said the Danya here Tony almost $2 million at the heart of America, very like 20 minutes walk away from the White House. And on the relaxing. And then he is not ready to come back home because when you're not going to Ken Ofori Atta and not going and can revoke the last somewhere June or July. No, he could have come straight away. Attorney General said Ken Ofori Atta's lawyers called him personally. They had discussions. So yes, Ken Ofori Atta so about man yani bibia. Mamun tata you take him through the law. From that time, July BC and January, but how many months in there? Se papa de bank waba. If January say akwachena, maybe if he's a 419, his lawyers are trying to play some game. Attorney General said, someone to my papa we are ma. Be harding too much because my mind this if we nyasen bia ye beka. Acquired to level say NPP phone po e cassette ya papa yi. Eni bi na me be ba chire o kete free fadi ankasa.
As a party in the phone will be a head whoopee on your console to her. Wo buy ya wubu a memu. Ken Ofori Atta. Ken baby out there na we will party in any mwase. Ugu party in any mwase. Ugu party in any mwase. Eti Ken, Danny Wonsa, anasa resign. Men resign, Tintinity. Men resign, Tintinity. No Jenafako. Ken Ofori Atta resign. Na party no, baby, a nip a MP's mago, a fedia, a meet me yam maho. Untimi nya ma ho na de wagya o makoro no ho akwa kwotena buruchiri. Say ya ne ya che okura ne ade a wo ye papa nko anim nte. Ya che o ne egu nko wani masia. The fact that you have refused to even to come and answer to your questions, it goes ahead to dent the image of the MPP as though MPP are Kromfo party.
And of course, NPP they are not Kromfo party, Priscilla. NPP are not Kromfo party. That is something they need to know. No, Bob say he stole from Senate in the 90s. as well and ran away until Kufuor came to power. So that is his modus operandi. On the Ajuma no, na good where you sa no good sa no you know ko. But NPP are there for party. So we again and you know the NPP is NPP one person NPP mna power beam there. That means you are ready to say some Kufuor and say we are going to and we are not ready to accept those kind of things. And the NPP for Japan mesamo, mama say maybe any Ghana say Uber Bob my crown no. We are here telling you say emra organa say untimi nyaga sika entonu nwana nkotre ba akwa. That we shouldn't do things like that. Ghana na ye chichire no. Your name be we need to do it as a people. Untimi ntena say enwia man sika we house me dey am sorry am sorry ko obi en obeti ma heme. Ada ndi asem kwa dey bone na Ghana ya NPP for the only thing you people know how to do is to come and mess up the system. Mutai chire Kwabena ne eba be kora man kama na mo so ma ba be say na dwiri ni nyina to ogu. Ada ndi asem ko. Idea bone na Ghana ya ye. Anyway, Abuja, this is the debate with Munufie nti mama yenko yenim. Ya asem. Attorney General we na mama na so how odi ewura Kwabena Adu Boahene no. Kwabena Adu Boahene $7 million chobable US. So oni Israeli company bi kwa akoye connection and say ekofa niam aba be kora Ghana security say na sika no owia. Attorney General took us deep. O say papa ba ko bi de say be papa no. Nyankopon ton sa afre no na lucky ni say owuko. Attorney General say nka kian ke papa no ti asem ko ade a anko beche no. Pachu ti say Attorney General kan fa Kwabena Adu Boahene mo so de no.
So you speak about professionally, if you see that the charges can't stick, you will pull the brakes.
The brakes, yeah.
How about those matters where, like Kwabena Adu, you know, the banking crisis issues, where you agree to take a 60%, you know, and let them go? People have questioned that.
Yes.
And that is bias. It is simply because you cannot be seen to prosecute your own. Like Collins Dada, like Kwabena Adu, you just can't prosecute them.
That is not so. You see, the banking sector cases were being treated differently, right, by me. Because I took the view that despite the weak nature of the charges, okay, so for instance, I'll give you an example. If you say that financial loss has been caused by a bank because the bank took liquidity support from the Bank of Ghana, and that liquidity support, you know, was misapplied, okay, how was it misapplied? Now, if you take banks generally, right, banks are in the business of taking risk. They lend, you know, and sometimes those who take the loans default, probably not due to anything, I mean, any fault of theirs. They may default because the business has gone bust and so on and so forth, all right? So if you want to criminalize the banks on account of liquidity support, then I am sure all these, I mean, banks that we have in the system, every one of them will go to jail. All right. It doesn't make sense for you to say that because liquidity support was given, all right, and they did not apply it in the manner that you thought they ought to have applied it. Okay. So in the case of the Dufos, right, it wasn't the case that they stole the money. It wasn't the case that they pocketed the money. There was no evidence on file that, you know, I mean, they did anything that personally benefited them. In fact, they were not charged with, stealing and so on and so forth. Okay. So what we're looking at was the negligence on their part, maybe the, fictitious entries into their books so that the books were good, so that Bank of Ghana will give them more money to, you know, continue to be a bank and so on and so forth. Okay, so at the end of the day, what I then said was that for all the banking cases, okay, I mean, I assessed them, the evidence was, also weak, just like, you know, the rest of the cases. But I said to myself that, look, people's savings were lost. All right. Yes, they have to take responsibility somewhat for all of that. I mean, the civil matter was also, in court at the time.
That's right.
Okay, so I took the view that, look, if, I have to withdraw the charges, okay, then you have to, commit to bring in assets worth 60% of what was, filed in the criminal matter. That was, and I made that offer to all the banking sector persons who were standing trial. It wasn't only the do-force. I made it to Beige Capital, all right. I made it to the rest of them I've forgotten the toll list.
People have been curious about the fact that these cases somehow concern significant persons in your party, the NDC.
Well,
the Ofosu-Ampofo cases, talk about the Smith OBS matter, millions, of dollars to recover from there as well. How does that happen? That's too much of a coincidence.
Well, I don't know whether it is too much of a coincidence, but I think, and I do not want to sound like I am basically, I don't know how to put it without, sounding, offensive, but I think that the cases, most of them, as I've said earlier on, were poorly investigated. They were poorly investigated. And because they were...
And they do not have a future.
Well, yeah, that is the assessment that I came to. I remember my very good, friend, lawyer Tadiosori wrote a piece, with respect to the nolle prosequis that are filed, in which he basically says, look, if you have an attorney general who objectively assesses a matter and then comes to the conclusion that it is not worth, proceeding to trial, you don't expect him, to take that matter to trial. And something I keep telling people that, look, they should watch this space. They should watch out when there is malfeasance by a minister, all right, chief executive, or other appointee of this government. That is when they will see that the allegations that I am treating NDC people with case gloves is not well founded. Okay, I think, look, just do a comparison of the cases that I have filed. Okay, in most of them, I have been able to show that there was theft. All right. Okay, so you take, Kwabena Adu Boahene, very clearly, the $7 million moving from a public account into a private account and disbursed for private purposes. It's theft.
Is there evidence of disbursement of that $7 million into for private purposes?
There is plentiful evidence. Plentiful
the BNC director accounts.
Yes.
We have seen the letter from Mr. Chireme, Joshua.
Yes.
Who ordered those accounts to be opened?
the dead man. So we'll come to, when the trial starts, we'll come to his letter.
Why get you to suggest that you suspect that...
I suspect that letter was a forgery.
It's fictitious.
I think it is. I think so. But even if that were the case, and if Mr. Chireme were alive today, I would have arrested and prosecuted him for that act. Okay? The reason is simple, Samson. We have director of, operations account, all right, which is a public account duly opened for the National Signals Bureau that can be used for operations. So you don't need to set up a private entity, take the money from that private entity, from the public account, put it into the private entity in order to do disbursement. Does it make sense at all for you? If, for instance, the Israeli company were paid directly from the public account, what would have been wrong with that? Why create another, a private entity and then use that to make the payment? Then subsequently, we find that the money is being disbursed, all right, for private purpose. So I keep asking
private
people,
purpose. Can you prove?
No, yeah. So in March of 2020, Kwabena Adu Boahene actually wrote emails instructing his bankers to put 16 million Ghana cedis of that money, okay, into fixed deposit accounts in his name. Is that a public purpose?
We're told about how national security operates. For example, the properties that you list.
Yes.
Can you trace these monies to those properties?
Yes, I can.
We are being shown, and as it is panning out in the courtroom, that your case is crumbling by the day.
No. That is far from the
because the formerly accused, now your witness, is now giving evidence to corroborate that these movements of money and the operations were normal and standard.
No. You see, they were asking questions about movement of money with Ghana must go banks, that whether that is normal at the national security. And then she said yes. All right. That had nothing to do with the 49 million. She wasn't answering the question to the effect that the 49 million was brought to national security in Ghana must go banks. Okay. She was answering a question that is general about national security operations and how they move money and so on and so forth. Okay. But my point is that if you look at our evidence, look at the witness statement of the investigator, all right, you will see how the monies were spent. And I've just given you
in the
one
witness
example.
Statement of the investigator.
Yes.
He corroborates what you say in your filings in the court.
Yes.
To say that the security cyber defense system device was not delivered.
Yes.
But we have seen letters from the Israeli company confirming that these were delivered.
No. There were two. If what the Israelis wrote is true, right, then we have to have two pieces of equipment delivered for him to, not be guilty.
I see.
Yes. Because you look at the evidence of the director of finance, there was one that was legitimately paid for directly from the public account. And that is the one that, Kwabena Adu Boahene and his lawyers want Ghanaians to believe was delivered pursuant to the purchase, the purported purchase purchase transaction that he engaged in. All right. So if he has to, be exonerated, he has to present two pieces of equipment. The cyber, equipment has to be two. But you see, the disbursement, the trail of disbursement of the funds, okay, the paper trail is there. The paper trail is there. And I don't see how you can say that because you are national security, of course, your expenditure should not be as transparent as a normal organization, okay? Because you have to have money to pay informants, you have to have money to do subterranean operations and so on and so forth. But that is not what the money was used for. So if you say that you are going to buy equipment,
you have just confirmed that the money was used to pay for, at least part of it was used to pay for one device, which is delivered.
No,
but
not part of it. Not part of this money. Not part of that money.
This is separate.
This is separate. So we have invoices, genuine invoices from the director BNC account that went straight to the Israelis to pay for the cyber security equipment. All right. And then he mimicked that transaction in order to steal the $7 million that I am, prosecuting.
So what do we mean? Yes. So what I say? At the NPP party, it seems a chrono. And we get a PhD, ni master's degrees. And the Kwabena Adu Boahene $7 million, and he wants to deceive the public. Say, oh, Nemana, he and Kwame told by Attorney General said there be. Onye, Otowade ba kope. And then that receipt, in a kita na tesha ma wuntu mi de ni bi. Kwaji invoice and all ko change any receipt and say bi na kwawe and so yeah. It's one how they came to steal the resources of the country. And this and kaya nye faster and Kwabena Adu Boahene so you good one and kaya no. And the NPP party they say, "Udi agora munyina bedwana." That is why Japan may say, "Niabere say, emrebi any Ghana say, you need to account for your stewardship, no, because it is what is. It's like I don't even know. As a sudden they show mutim say, "Masa monko na monko wieskano, mu wi emrebi any Ghana beti machemo." That is what they were doing. And then another time Akufo-Addo and his administration, they came onto this particular country to steal the resources of our dear nation. Pacho, we are Ghana and say why you can't. And your politics in here, we are not here doing politics because we don't care. So why we are minding Kwanda, we need to punish you. So why we are minding Kwanda, they need to be punished. No, but so why is something trying so hard to defend him? One will say Captain Smart to me not be the same thing. Captain Smart Baba can say, "Oh, Attorney General any case," because Obi or any to we are minding Sikano. They have connections. Uti a lawyer and the appear kubia. Would it a lawyer ye or say so who defended mine a pini obia and ye easy tia lawyer and the appear kubi, but you tia pa.
Glad you're better.
Yes, I'm better. I'm better. Very well.
But you have not stated the image. Was it suspected poisoning?
Well, that's what I was told, that I had some poison.
Okay.
I was told. But I had gone through some treatment and I'm fine.
And now you're hale and hearty?
I am very fine.
Brilliant. And we thank God that you are in good shape now.
Yes, I'm fine.
But it sounded like a small project. You didn't even get him removed in the first place anyway.
Yes.
And you didn't succeed.
When you attempt to attack people's integrity, it's a dangerous, enterprise. So you have to be careful. And I've always been careful. If you talk to my PA...
What I say, when you try to attack people's integrity, a very dangerous enterprise. And the Kwabena Adu Boahene, Ken Ofori Atta, those kind of people, no, almost we ask to protect their own integrity. So when you want to go after them, that is why you get this kind of something. Captain Smart defending this kind of people because they have also been paid. When you what must say, they've been paid. Sorry, greetings if you have a call there. They've all been paid. Precisely the only thing I bet me don't rate mining and say, "You bet you don't mine." And that is what I think say majority of Ghanaians are yearning for now because Kasana Yadoso, where a president is being voted into power for only 4 years. They say President John Dramani Mama, you 1 year, 3 years. 3 years, the last 1 year, a campaign, a campaign. And this 1 year never come to me for Bianco Tumudia. Then I don't know what we are doing as a nation. To be honest. Because the Obia, the Kakra, I involve Bianco Tumu. Yet when former President Kufuor years or the Chachuji Katabetum no. Fast track high court near the Neko. So why are we here arguing say Kwabena Adu Boahene why I say Attorney General, the only thing we will need to see is that Kwabena Adu Boahene is imprisoned. Adi Epese one say Chamaun to me is imprisoned. Kofi Akpalu is imprisoned. Kwabena Adu Boahene is imprisoned. Ken Ofori Atta, what the Nabagana give to a while more, they need to go. But the same thing they call 4 years about near Kotoba, Massa. One brew. Atiabre, Miami, yes, answer me Atiabre, Nadia, Ubiase, and Opati. The only thing we need to see is a Nipa Bigu prison. Rico said, bro, well, I can't believe why 1 year is gone by since the Ora came into office. And up till now, nothing has been done. Yeah, exactly, Rico. That's exactly what we are talking about. Because the Kasa and Yados, but Kasa, you will be a Kwakotum. And now alone, they are doing why and because we need to make sure say some people are in prison. That is what Ghanaians want. And yet Kasa do nana. Francisca said ICE doesn't joke. Yeah, Francisca, I understand. You think say it's not 419. What I meant by 419 is say Ken Ofori Atta and Kasa ICE and China Fantan America whole. That is not what we want. Say we need Ghana for to do ICE as more American. But we are not talking about them. We need Ken Ofori Atta in Ghana. It is a one fan of Ghana and I will say ICE are China American. They are there for us and it's 419. It's like you've done nothing. Because if Attorney General wants us to believe, say, you're revoking the visa in June or July, August, September, October, November, December, January, 6 months in the now Papa Nankasa willingly in Emma Ghana, rather than he is going to go to court on 20th of this month to fight him and find Ghana there. What if we don't succeed? So that is what I meant by it seems like it's not going to work. 419 doesn't mean anything, but it means it might not work because Papa Ghana and Kawaba. Many say Captain Smart. Seriously? He is crocodile and chameleon. I really do not understand him sometimes. All of them should go behind bars. We need justice. Of course, we need justice in the system. That is why we need this kind of people to come back to Ghana, and then we need to make sure that they are all in prison. Because when we are in Sika and Kase, with this kind of way we are no, there's nothing a bit in there. What's America? They can offer over $2 million. I saw a message. Minya Okasi Yangoton can offer Japade. I think was it Emily and the buy. Ken Ofori Atta Nkwano. Car Ken Ofori Atta Magana Bono. It's amount to over $500 million. $500 million US. Abutreka is $8 million into US for free. US Abefa Abutreka se percent neko. Obi every year sika according to Attorney General Amono. $500 million US. Ora and now me say Ora HAC over $20 billion. Sika MPP for amamumuno. A year enko Ora uncover over $20 billion US. Masa enyesika keto asem ne yeka no. Enyesika keto Ghana timiko IMF say ko 3 billion. But NPP for we are 20 billion. And the Ken Ofori Atta minimum Japade or Ghana you ton bedru say sika ye kan what me. Minia. So that is why ye kasa yes idea Ghana. Kata free for kwaja tum say NPP e akorom for party.
As a party ni hwesofo no bia ye do pe. Onyonko nso te ho. Wo ba ya wo bu amamuo. Ken Ofori Atta. Ken baby a wo di ade na mu wo gu party nanimu ase. Ugu party nanimu ase. Ugu party nanimu ase. Eti Ken dane wonsa anasa resign. Men resign tintintiniti. Men resign tintintiniti. No jina faako. Ken Ofori Atta resign na party no baby MPs mago afedie mintimi nyame ma ho. Untimi nyama ho na de wagya o makoro no ho akwa buruchiri. Say ye ni ye cho okura ni ade a wo ye papa nko ani monte. Ye cho ni egu nko ani mosia. The fact that you have refused to even to come and answer to your questions, it goes ahead to dent the image of the MPP as though MPP are Kromfo party. Mo ye ka kire mo. Enya matan time be na mo ye ne sa no. Obi ansuro obi awo. Ya na ya adwene se party no enema bo ba nema bo wo a ese mpanimfo timi sebre wo ma no ka se Ken Ofori Atta wabu man no yie na wa ye nema na wunwia ya bra be yi wa no keke eno so akwa ebu achi bidi go party nani mo asesa go party nani mo asesa wo bia ntimi nka no kore ama MPP party ne nya kono biu adai edi ne ma na mo ye ne sa no adai wabu amamuo papa bra ne be yi wa no ne ntimi build the confidence in the party against ye buy ni ya mewia obia afena ntete na me ma na me yare na wo yare a wani masuaso akora kufu e ka say resign wani masuaso when it was so visible so wo yare ya ka say resign na mo ma nipa ho tete no because party no mon care about them benya from nyina manya wi
we a ka say ono so nkwan na opasa openkwan na asa na people there. Anyway, someone say Ora is working. Someone I think I agree with you 100%. Or say Ora is working. Ora Nama, the current administration, no, you put them on their checks. Any more beyond chrono, no. I think it's you're correct. I do agree with you 100%. Well, I was here, and this afternoon I had a live streamer, many Dr. Asene of Gempa, AD, come about how to use a technology in transforming Ghana's educational system. I think my penny that particular link on this particular show until we are we had a very fruitful discussion this afternoon. It was live stream about how to use technology because Dr. Asene very good in Ochilade or Gimpa, he's a doctor. Ochilade Gimpa IT school, so he understands. I had him live, and then we had those kind of discussions. That is something we also need to transform our society, because with technology, there are a lot of things, and you always hear politics. You know, most of these politicians get access to steal the resources because we are not incorporating technology into our governance. So we need to also work hand in hand with this kind of things. And if I tell you a video now, my penny on this particular description of this particular video, that is something I think is a very, very good. This afternoon, Rikus was also part of the live with us. Rikus, oh yeah, dear, anyway, Abusuya, and then me the best we had to say, question be I think I will take my time to also address it. It's a question be or there. I think say I will work hand in hand, and then we do it. Rikus, why was Nanado just looking? Nanado Dango Kufado them. I can't say. I think say we need to do something with Nanado Dango Kufado, because until we president, Emma Unuya, Emma finance minister, you talk about anywhere with Biane over 500 million. Esheneto, or the Biana Kota American to top 9. I can see it in the mind enjoy, and then you are quiet. You don't want to speak. You don't want to talk. And you see who are there and another Dango Kufado. And that's he thinks a genuine cause to call Ken Ofori Atta to book, or that's another Dango Kufado things a witch hunting. You know, sometimes our leaders need to talk. That is something I think say we need to work hand in hand, because yes, I don't know, maybe I'm no more, but anyway, let's leave it up to them and their God. Yeah, I don't baby and send it a more massive. So Munufie say idea more and yeah, fine. Say yeah, fine. It's up to them. No, Bob say we need Akufo-Addo should be sued, right? Yeah. Because sometimes and I think say, well, let's watch. Maybe Attorney General can do wonders. But before he does those kind of things, you know, they need to be brought to book. Now, if they can and maybe who say I'm Attorney General, so we is serious. I don't know, you know, so that is something I think say we need to do as a people. But this is the debate with the Munufie. And if you've been watching me anywhere, you've been watching me live from Biano, ubiti me aka. Then we all share. Say channel is how I do the live stream. Say okay, ma ubiti me abomaba. So say ubiti me I like it. I share. So I think I will be also very, very happy with that. You know, me that's it. Nyame adoma. Ochana. Anyway, ochana meba. Me that's it. Yankopon ene ubia entena. Bye bye.
Pachisra Yahuwa ilahenu Yahuwa ekat. We ahata et Yahuwa Elohika bika luvika. Uvika naveshika. Uvika miyodika. Tode yasak.
Ini Mahmoud Baumia yenko ayefro emfe preko eniachi. Obeyi watade yemufi. Yenko ye choba emfe men baby yesi eja nan edan. Ya kan ya yi bomba no yes bomba.
Ese nkwa ni tuni na we shoot.
Na nwanse nyina na bomba ni nyina atu afra. Wa na beto.
Baumia problem.